welcome back to another episode of the SLHO podcast. Today we'll be discussing topics about the Barbs and other SLHO future drafts. Today we're going to have a special guest on. But before we start that, sorry we didn't upload. There was a lot of state football going on for state winners. And speaking of a state championship, we got an SLHO championship here. Let's welcome Isaac Spencer.
How you doing?
Great. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing great. So, first of all, congrats on the state chip win.
Thank you.
Yep.
It was a great season, man. I had a lot of fun with those guys. Thank you to the seniors for making it a great season all year long. No better way to spend my day.
And you got any big moments from that football season that's just brings out highlights of the year for you?
Yeah, man. I mean, too many to list off in the amount of time we got, but I don't know. Even just starting from that championship game, we were down by one. We had that first drive touchdown, got our field goal, missed it. Then they went down, scored a touchdown pretty quick, and then the way that we were able to just battle back, come back from that win. Most teams wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, so I fight for adversity there. Nolan, so obviously you were injured most of the year. How are you gonna deal with that kind of next season?
We're not gonna think about it next year. New year, new me.
Exactly.
White belt mentality.
Black.
Quote Garrett Muller on that.
What is that white belt? I don't know.
So that was the motto for our season, because we had super successful, undefeated state champs last season, great team, and white belt mentality just means new mindset, starting over, got a new group of guys, new team, whole new feeling for the game. So yeah, and then we earned the black belt.
Yep. Now football's over. We got SLHL coming up. Are you excited for that?
I'm pumped, man. How are you guys excited?
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it should be a good season. We've had a lot of off-season trades. We've had a lot of off-season moves going on with teams. People are putting in that work.
Mm-hmm.
I know people who are off-season athletes, ones that aren't in football, ones that aren't in basketball, are still putting in that off-season work to try and better their game for SLHL. So it should be a good season.
Speaking of off-season moves, you also made a move to get the first pick in the draft. What are you gonna do with that pick?
Well, man. So I originally had the 6th and 7th pick.
Yep,
So last pick of the first and first pick of the second, and I almost had it in my mind that was my set.
Yeah,
I had my set team in there.
What would that have been? Nolan, LJ? You probably would have picked there.
Honestly, I would have let LJ fall. LJ, he's not my type of player. In my opinion, he takes a lot of stupid shots. He doesn't really play the role that he's supposed to play, and we really saw that when he got traded back to the Nighthawks. I mean,
we won the chip. Yeah,
we won the chip, and I would say it was partially because of the shot selection that LJ had. He's the same guy who went 0 for 5 on threes to start a game, 5 air balls back to back, and he just wouldn't stop shooting. Eventually, he got the hang of it.
I think most people can shoot 1,000 shots and make at least 5.
Yeah, I mean, you throw the ball into the ocean, it's gonna hit one of those times, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, but yeah, I feel like that was a big reason, and I just wouldn't like that kind of player on my team. So my original team would have been Nolan and Simon. Two hard-working dudes. They hustle. They can rebound. Play defense. And most people would say, yeah, I'd be the offensive weapon in that kind of system. But I feel like that would be pretty effective considering that not many teams would be able to guard that.
Yeah, well, Nolan just developed even a 3-pointer towards the end of the season, so he just kind of spawned in there. Well, yeah, what do you even look at a good teammate as a captain? Who do you when you're drafting? What's your process of picking who?
I look for a mix of someone who's got all of the attributes, right? I don't want someone who's lazy. I don't want a ball hog. I want someone who's gonna be a field general or a floor general, because I'm the big. I'm 6'3", so I'm running the big on pretty much any team that I draft. So I need someone who can command the court, get me the ball in the paint, get touches. But I also need people who can shoot the rock, because we learned last year that teams are going to double and triple team me in the paint. I need those kind of people where I can kick the rock out to them, and just have them like trust them to knock down a shot.
Yeah, because like we're going back to your drafts, like who you drafted. Like season 1, there's controversy around the order. So we did the round 1.
Kind of got screwed over.
Yeah,
double last picks right in each round.
that is correct. Yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. Coming into the season, I think everyone knew like I'm obviously overall like the biggest guy in the league, which it's the same way in real basketball too. Everyone's gonna be harder on the big guy.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be easy for him. So I think just even before we had the first ever SLHL season, people knew like, oh, we got to get Zeke.
Yeah.
Not to be so.
They like predetermined that you were already gonna be like.
Yeah.
They kind of saw you as like a target already.
I feel like it was a little unfair. Last picks in back-to-back rounds. It's not really convenient for anyone. I don't care how good you are, but yeah, it wasn't. Well, I wasn't a fan of it personally.
So you took Earl, and you also
in the
took
first round. By the way.
Yeah, you took Earl first round. Yeah, why did you take Earl first round? No basketball experience. You could have taken maybe like an athletic person, like Nolan. What was like behind that?
Yeah. So the reason behind Nolan, we may or may not have came to a mutual agreement to where he may have sponsored me for some gas money, and like him paying for my gas money inclined me not to pick him. So that's a big reason.
Might be like a little bit of tampering there or something. Like you guys.
Oh yeah, I was suspended one game.
Oh, you were.
Yes, it was investigated for tampering. Nolan was suspended. I'm thankful to say that I was not suspended. I don't know how I got myself, how I wiggled myself.
Well, it really wasn't your fault, but
no,
I offered the bribe. You just happened to take it.
You did, yeah. And with gas prices through the roof when we first started that SLHL season, I don't think anyone would have turned that down.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Earl, you've had Earl 2 seasons in a row now. What do you like about Earl the most? Obviously.
Earl is just he's a good guy, man. He's that guy when you have him in the locker room. He's not too serious. He's a funny guy. He's gonna really like boost that team morale. You need that kind of guy in the locker room, right? Like this football season, we had Sleep, never really serious about anything, always making guys crack a laugh. You always need someone like that to lighten the mood of the locker room, no matter if you're winning games, losing games. The whole point of this SLHL experience is for everyone to have fun.
Yeah. What's your favorite like Earl moments? You got any like favorite like funny ones, like just?
That's tough. Earl is a clip farmer without clip farming. He's just
unintentional.
He is the clip.
Earl's a living highlight for all the wrong reasons, and I'm proud to say that. I love his shot form.
Oh,
it's like I can't even explain really. It's like a mix of Lonzo Ball and like a Shaquille O'Neal jumper, where he'll start from one hip, sway it over, and then two-handed chuck 90 feet in the air. It's a funny experience every time we watch.
I think one of my favorite Earl moments is him slipping over the fence.
I think that might be my top one, but
I don't know how that happened, but
no. And gosh, I don't think if anyone smaller would have done that, they wouldn't have gone through the fence. It's just because Earl he's
plowed right through it.
Huge, so I'm pretty sure he hurt the fence more than he hurt himself.
Do you think you're able to take Earl this year at all? Do you think he's gonna fall?
As much as I would like to have him on my team in 3 consecutive years, I don't see that happening.
It's not possible.
Yeah,
There's
always chances and stuff of like
yeah. Maybe you trade up in the second, sacrifice, but highly unlikely.
Well, and what I really don't want to happen this year's draft is for him to fall down to where Brody can take him, because
I think Brody's.
That's exactly like Brody has no first round picks. He has terrible spots, so that's exactly.
Yeah, kind of like to the topic of like tanking. Like I don't believe the whole tanking. Just like play the game. Like I think Brody's a big L man for that. I feel like you should just play the game and not try to just tank for the future. Just win now. Just like win the game now and don't focus on future.
Yeah.
I think he's going to take like Billings and like baby and
Earl's in there.
They're both awesome people. That's just not a winning team.
I don't know if we can release our new member quite yet, but
no, we'll save that for a different time.
Different day, guys.
But I really don't get what Brody's trying to accomplish here. He still thinks so he's obviously talked about taking Billings, which I had planned on Billings being the last pick of the draft for another season so that I could have him. And then Brody comes along and he says that he's going to take Billings no matter what, because he would rather have Billings over Chase, which, in my opinion, it's kind of a hot take. You know, Chase, he's an athletic dude. He's not always.
He's not coordinated exactly, but he has
he's
like
not
potential.
put together yet.
He's not offensively gifted. He's raw. He's raw talent, but you know, I mean, people can't really score on him on defense, regardless of whether it should be called a foul every time he steps on the court or not. But you know, back to what Brody's trying to accomplish this offseason during the draft, he thinks taking Billings and Baby B that they're going to have just a 3-point shooting arsenal, and that they're not going to miss a single three.
No paint.
There's no.
Exactly. They're not going to be able to guard anyone in the paint. There's no one who's going to be able to guard Lukey in the paint, or me in the paint, or Jan. Anyone who's
anyone who
matter.
provides any sort of backup punch in there.
Yeah. I mean, all those guys who are remotely close to 6 foot, they're not going to stop. So their defense is definitely going to be lacking. And, you know, Baby B, no shot fired to him. I don't want to have him catching strays on this podcast, but he's not the 3-point shooter most people think he is.
Yeah. Most of his glory days went back to C team days.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, like, when we were playing at Nelson Arena in Lukey's backyard, and from the wing, he shot it. It went about 30 feet in the air, and it cleared the backboard and hit the shed that was about 10 feet behind him.
When he pulled down that net.
And he pulled down. He's also not very athletically inclined, but you know, I mean, he could be a decent spot up shooter. But
we love you, Braxton.
Yes, no shots fired at Baby B.
This episode the Rose game.
No. But he's not really the number 2 option that I would want on my team.
So you've experienced like last place as a team, and you also experienced like a chip win, you know. So what do you consider like a failure year compared to like a success year, or you don't think that exists at all?
Well, you know, to have a good mindset about it, no year is really a failing year, right? And we weren't last place my first year with the Barbs with Billings and Earl.
Second last.
We were second to last.
2 wins.
But you know, we put up a fight, and we may or may not have went to the next round of the playoffs if it weren't for D-Band.
The B-Band incident,
when they beat my Gecko team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, that's the same Gecko team that went on to win the finals. And when Brody dropped 19 of the 25 points, or 21 of the 21 of the
21.
42 now for the new point system.
I think Chite broke at 43 now.
Chite broke.
That's insane.
Which also, I think he should be searched for tampering, because, you know, he traded away his pick, had Swan and Baby B, and looked like he was.
Yeah, Chite had a little bit.
Yeah,
that's I don't like.
Speaking of which, do people know that Swan is
out
of the league?
Oh yeah,
Swan's banned.
Yeah,
he was found doing some hardcore drugs. So.
No. Real reason is because he doesn't show up to games at all, and he like. A lot of times we want to get games out a lot is because he just wouldn't show up to these games, so we kind of have like the band name, or if it was kind of unfortunate. But he's just a chill guy who just doesn't want to play basketball all the time, so.
Yeah. We can't really control that, you know. I mean, maybe we do have to be a little more hardcore on the cosmic brownie fines the further we get into the SLHL league. But, you know, I want to go back to the point that we were saying with Brody. And like how you say, like, there's no failure year, really. I mean, you know, my first year Barbs wasn't really the team that everyone expected to, like, you know, make it that far.
Yeah.
But, you know, we put up a fight.
They gave the
Geckos a run for their money.
Yes, we did. And I'm proud to say that, you know, Earl, he came through on some big moments, you know, when I would be triple teamed in the paint, getting my arm slapped, getting hacked every time, and I'd kick it to either him or Billings. You know, Billings was there. He got his mid-range shot dialed later in that season, and yeah, I'm proud to say that was a good year. It was a fun year.
Yeah, speaking of that first year, I feel like a lot of your guys' losses were very close. Like when I was on the Nighthawks and we played you guys, it was only like a 2-point game, and we ended up going to semis there, and we were the first seed. And that game was gave me a concussion and stuff. Yeah, that was pretty fun. We went from giving me a concussion to winning a chip together, so that was pretty funny moment there.
Yeah, kudos to you. Yeah, that was a great recovery.
Yep.
And obviously it's nobody's intent to go out there and injure another player, another fellow SLHL member, whether if you're on the same team or not.
Yeah.
We're all brothers at the end of the day.
Mhm.
We're all one organization. And yeah, I'm glad you were able to make a recovery from that. And once again, I apologize for that.
Yeah, no, it's nothing really. I probably should not have taken a charge from a very masculine
I do
guy.
recall you were the one who was saying earlier in the
Yeah.
season, anyone who takes a charge in 3-on-3 9-foot basketball, you shouldn't be allowed to play because you're too soft. And then, lo and behold, the next game that we
And
played.
then the next game he comes back for, he injures Baby B and almost
Yeah,
kills
I was
Yeah,
going
we can
through
talk
some
about that.
self-conflicted battles there. Like I wrote an essay on this. Hans gave me a C- because he didn't know what SLHL was. That's his fault. Yeah, you should be watching this
Maybe you
podcast.
should watch the pod.
He
Yeah.
needs to be more cultured.
Yeah. So I injured Baby B after getting injured myself, and it was pretty devastating. I had to rethink to play the game. Thought about quitting for a little bit, but I was like, I can't run away from my what is it called, failures. I gotta face them and get better from that. So, yeah.
I do have a question though. You did have knee surgery a couple of years ago. It was pretty gruesome injury. But how?
Knee surgery?
Anyway,
when was
how
that?
did that make you a better player in football, SLHL, basketball, just everything?
Yeah, so that was regardless of what most people might think, doing that was actually a really rewarding experience in my life. I was able to focus more on, just school. I was able to get that handled, put away, and after that, it just became easier for me. The whole concept of school did. And, coming back from that really made me just want to work harder. It made me want everything more. And it wasn't really, I guess, super impactful in my career, my football career or my SLHL career, because it was just my freshman year. And, I wasn't really looking for big things to happen on the varsity level of football. But making that comeback, I actually, when I took my test to see if I could graduate from tearing my ACL, my right knee, the one I tore, actually came back stronger than my left. So that was super
What kills you
cool.
makes you stronger, it looks like.
Yeah, like I said, super rewarding experience, made me want to work harder all the time.
You came back and you were a starter on the varsity team
Yeah.
and won the ship.
Well,
Well, I know.
not
wasn't it?
starter,
Well,
I was
oh.
still on the JV level. But
Yeah, last year.
Oh, this
I
was
did.
last year?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
It
it
was
was,
a while.
I thought it was last year.
Yeah, but I worked my way up, got on the kickoff team eventually for varsity my sophomore year, made a couple plays. I got to start one game against Red Wing
Yeah,
because of some
unfortunately.
minor difficulties within the team,
Mhm.
but that's just learning experiences. That was just all the better for me to really get the feel of being a varsity player.
Put yourself out there, show them what you can prove.
Under the bread.
What you bring to the team.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people were questioning about whether the middle linebacker position this year would get filled properly or not. And I'm glad to say that I think I did a pretty good job of doing that. Shout out to Vince too, Vinniapolis.
Minneapolis.
There was a lot of question marks at the quarterback position as well. We went from Aiden Helder, great player. He was in the All-Star game. He's now playing college football at
Clear?
D3.
Yeah,
D3 or D2.
at
I believe.
Eau Claire. And yeah, he was a great quarterback for us. I think he has the passing touchdown record for
Yep.
Stewartville.
He was a
Yep.
Mr. Football, something like that. Like Mr. Minnesota, what's that called?
Yes, he was a
Runner-upper?
Mr.
Just for-
Football nominee.
Yeah.
Snubbed.
Yeah, yes, he was snubbed in my opinion, but Vince did a great job filling those shoes
Oh, yeah.
too. I mean,
How much picks he got all year?
I think he was five
I don't
picks.
think he threw any in the last 8 games or something.
Yeah,
that's
which-
crazy.
When
that's
it
a
matters,
good
he
stat.
showed up.
I mean, obviously it took him a little bit to get used to the
Yeah.
feel of being a starting varsity quarterback, first year. But yeah, I mean, after he got that out of the way, after the Pine Island game too, that was probably our roughest stretch of offense for a game. And we really figured it out from there. We put the ball in his hands more in the pocket, and we were able to trust him, and he got the job done. So
Yeah, about winning and stuff. Season 2, we won the Barbs thing, and what was your whole process like drafting like that team that won the chip, and then kind of like that comeback we led? What was like going through your whole head there, like you just pushing? I was looking out of it the entire time.
Yeah, so just starting from the draft that season, I had obviously had high hopes. It was everyone's first season of SLHL, just coming off of that, getting the feel of the ropes, and I really had high hopes for the next season. So I got another dominant force in the paint in Jan.
At pick three.
Yeah,
I've been picked 3 every year, I think.
Some thoughts crossed my mind to whether Weinman would be in there too, but obviously Jan was the right decision.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if Weinman would be a good mix for that.
Small sample size too. He really didn't shoot the ball much for his season.
No.
But
Yeah, that was towards the end of the season. He started to like come out.
Yeah, and which nobody knew was gonna happen, right?
No.
But yeah, he gained confidence throughout the season, started shooting the rock more. But clearly, Jan was a good decision. Led to something great. Led to a historic season.
Yep.
And even
Big
more,
dogs.
a historic comeback in the finals.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I think it was the second biggest comeback.
I think it was the biggest. The biggest.
I thought it was. Yeah, it must be the biggest because
Yeah, we were
Geckos
down.
had one where we were down 12.
We were down by 20 something.
It was 17, 15.
Something around that. But
It was.
we were in the face of adversity, and we stuck with it. Earl came through again. Like
Those reverse
Nobody-
layups.
he's one of those guys where no one really expects him to be a threat on offense, but if the moment is on him, the spotlight is shining down on him. Doesn't faze him. He got a couple clean layups off there. Jan obviously took some stupid shots, but somehow got him to go in.
Yep.
And yeah, it was a great comeback. I'm glad to say that team was the team who holds the biggest comeback.
Yep. Yeah.
I'll say from my end, I could feel the momentum kind of shift.
Yeah,
Right.
because you were on the opposing team. Yeah.
We probably should have gotten the ball to Vince's hands more than that
towards the
second
end
half.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was kind of I was mentally on it. I was like, oh, it's one of those days. Because, I was tight on LJ the entire time. And it was first half, so, LJ was making these. He made, 3 in a row to start the game. So, I'm like, oh, it's one of these nights where you're just going to be cashing them. So, I'm like.
But almost I would think of that as an advantage for us. LJ got those first 3 shots off, and he thought it was barbecue chicken for the rest of the night, but it wasn't. He would shoot it and it would barely graze the rim. It would hit off backboard.
I think towards the end of the game, he had 2 air balls.
Yeah, confidence, call it whatever you want. I think he was being a little cocky with his shot selection.
I think confidence could lead to cockiness, which is maybe
For
a
sure.
downfall to a player in any sort of sport.
Yeah, and I mean you could talk to Vince about it. I think he was probably unhappy with it.
Oh yeah.
With his
right.
shot selection.
Yeah, he's probably one of the most.
We probably need to get him the ball more though.
Yeah.
That would have been my plan too. I mean, if I were you, Nolan, no shade thrown towards you, but you also took a couple shots that were not really in your contract.
No.
So
not my try for my pay grade.
yeah, I mean, if I were you, I would have gotten the ball in Vince's hands. He was feeling it all night. I'm pretty sure he was definitely the leading scorer for your team.
I think he had 30.
Last possession, I put straps on him. That hit the dagger.
That was a crazy shot.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, has to be top 3 clutch shots all time.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, you didn't make a 3 the entire game.
Nope.
And then
Wasn't playing on it.
final shot of the game, you pulled through, got us the win. So
Clanked off the front.
that's
off the
definitely in
back.
my top 3 most clutch moments in SLHL history.
Yeah, I'll put mine up there. No, not trying to be biased, but I'll put mine up there for the chip. I'll put LJ's on Carson's face going to semis.
Yeah, against the Bandits.
Yeah, that was pretty clutch. Step back 3, and I don't know, maybe Brody's performance all in general again in the chip.
In the finals, I would say that first game, I had set a screen for him when we were down the whole game.
Yeah, check out
We
your
hit a
points.
3, and after that, it was kind of tides shifted, and we won the first game in the finals.
Yeah, I also wish we did 2 games in the chip, but we
We
have
were
time
time constrained.
Time constraints.
Zeke himself had some things going on.
Yeah, I may or may not have been limited to only playing that day since football season was starting literally the next day of the championship game. I was not permitted to play anymore after that, after football season started. So we really had to crack down on the game time, and we had to get it over with. But I'm glad it ended up the way it did.
Yeah, you're like most of the games you're just dunking on people. Like, well, how do you like prepare for just like dunking like through contact and stuff like that?
I think it's kind of like the same mentality that you would have on a football field, right? I'm sure Nolan can relate to that. Like to really be successful on the gridiron, you gotta have a killer mentality. You want to, like Ant said,
Yeah.
I want to kill everything in front of me.
Yeah, because you probably got the most posters in the league easily.
I think I would, for sure. And, probably half of them equate to being on Tommy.
R.I.P. Tommy. I probably might be tired.
That probably is
Just
why
dunked
you're
on way
tired.
too much.
I mean, we don't have any like video evidence of the first game of SLHL history, but I'm pretty sure I dunked on him like 5 times.
Yeah, it was bad.
Would you say you're probably the most dominant player in the league, or like even the best player? Do you put yourself as the best player? One time MVP, one time finals, same year?
Brian could have been 2-time MVP, but Vince just had a stellar first half.
That's because he just didn't win.
Yeah.
He wasn't a winner.
And
You
I
didn't
missed a
win.
couple games.
Yeah.
That season 2, tailbone injury.
I forgot about that.
I remember that he missed like 3 games.
Yeah, so, I think congratulations to Vince. He obviously earned season 1 MVP, but back to what you said about being the most dominant, I think in terms of like being what teams have to game plan for, like how teams will have to like triple team me in the paint and like, play a zone defense on me and just game plan for that, I would say that I am the most dominant player.
Yeah.
But going from that to being the best player, I would say there's obviously dudes who put up a great fight. Like Chite, he's an amazing player. He holds the record for most points scored in a game. And I don't think that's going to be broken for a while. So that's obviously a huge feat accomplished by him. Vince, he's obviously, I think of him as like a Kobe.
I think of him like a Shea, kind of. Like I think of him.
I think of him as a Shea too.
As a modern player, I would say Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but just like overall, kind of like a Kobe. And I give him crap for that too, just not passing the rock all that much. But
sometimes that's what
it leads to wins.
Yeah.
But
sometimes that's what you have to do because you got to just like cook with him all the time.
So yeah, obviously, and like Lukey Nelson, he puts up a good fight for it too. I think he's just not as dominant.
And he seems to not get over the hump. He said 2 of maybe the best teams in league history.
He's went from having his first season 1 team, Isaac Weinman and Baby B. Obviously, Weinman didn't really come out of his shell until season 2. He wasn't really shooting the rock all that much, but he's still a great player, great role player. He's someone you would like to have on your team. And Lukey just didn't really play the part well with him.
I think if Lukey has that team he did like that first year, I think he could like have great chance of winning it again.
I think he had an even better team the second.
Oh yeah, definitely.
With Chuck and Chase.
I mean, when you have someone who's got as much basketball experience as Chuck, he's been playing his whole life.
Yeah.
He's a great point guard, great floor general, can really command the offense, and he can get steals on defense too. Like, it's got to be hard not to pull through and win a lot of games with someone like that on your team, regardless if you have Chase there or not. And like Chase, he showed some sparks. Like against the Barbs, our only loss last season was against the Phoenix because Chase had a legacy game.
Yeah, 3 threes, whole pinks.
3 threes, and I think 2 layups. Like, my game plan for the team was to just let him do whatever he wanted. If the rock
zone
was in his
chase.
hands.
We called it the zone chase.
We did.
Chase zone.
Chase zone.
Yeah.
And he just popped off. So he showed some sparks, some glimpses of how good of a player he could be.
Never happened again.
But there's got to be.
Yeah, how did that Phoenix team lose?
I ended up having 17, and I was 5 for 6 from 3. Vince was going crazy. LJ was going kind of crazy. So, I mean,
Chuck had probably had 0 points.
they really didn't guard me that first half when I
Yeah.
had like 12.
Yeah, and like no disrespect to Lukey, but I mean, now that I think about it, now that I talk about it to you guys, I'm kind of seeing a pattern here. You know, like he had Weinman on his team first season, and he wasn't super productive, right?
Yeah.
He's at Chuck now.
He leaves, and I think
He
Weinman might have
leaves,
been-
and Weinman has his best season,
I think
right?
he was maybe the star of that Geckos team in season 2.
Oh yeah.
For some games especially,
Yeah.
like he outplayed Brody in
stepped
some
it up.
games, yeah. And like
Yeah.
with Chuck, you know, obviously, like that could be the most dominant duo in SLHL history, but something about it, Lukey, I mean, I guess he's just not able to develop players as much as people would like to think.
Yeah, it would kind of be cool to see where like the players fall this year for this draft. Like players like me and Wyman, I know who will take who first, and because I think it's all depending on like needs, like who needs a big or who just wants like another guard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, like me having the first pick, I'm gonna go with the guard.
Yeah.
Right? It's something I need. It's something I haven't really had. Right? I've just like season 1, I had two bigs.
You've had
from-
bigs.
You've had bigs.
You've had bigs your entire career.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I mean, I can't complain. Both my teams, both seasons have fit the description of being barbaric. And you know, just like a football team, that's kind of our motto. You know, before every game, I'll send into the group chat #BeBarbaric.
Mhm.
The same way Garrett Muller texts in #WaterIt or
Yeah.
Step Up or Protect the Ship. You know, yeah, it's something I take pride in, having a barbaric team, having guys who go out there and have that Ant-Man mindset. You know, I want to kill everything in front of me. But you know, to be successful this year, I think it's got to be me going a different route and investing in a point guard. You know, and some people think I'll leave it to the fans to think what they want to think. They might think it's a toss-up between like Chuck or Brock Bly. You know, two great point guards, two people who have a lot of basketball experience. But yeah, I'll leave that up to them to decide. And then who's got the pick after me? Is it?
Chite
has 2 picks.
Chite has a second pick and the 4th pick in the first.
Second and 4th pick. So I believe Chite is
gonna take whoever you don't take between maybe
Yeah,
the
so-
2 people you just said.
So if it's a toss-up, I mean, he'll either have Chite or Brock, and you know, both of which are a dangerous combo. You know, it's not something any team's gonna want to go against.
Yeah, I think this year's gonna be heavy on those 2 first picks.
Yeah.
Being like the contenders to win it all.
And I believe firmly that it'll be, depending on how like the bracket shapes out, that it'll be my Barbs versus Chite's Mambas.
Which you could be on.
Yeah, I could be.
John could be on there
Yeah.
because
I think it all depends on if Vince
That's-
wants to run it back
yeah.
with me. But I think Vince might want to switch it up. They may take a Wyman, especially him having a hot season.
yeah.
Maybe try and go like a guard and guard or something like that instead of having me. But we try to wait and see basically. I don't know if Chite messes with me nowadays, but if I'm a Mamba, that would be kind of tight. Be a third option. I've never been a third option on a team before. Kind of maybe Nighthawks, kind of. But
It's nice to be like a third
Yeah.
option. Don't really need to be relied on. Just play some defense.
yeah, and then like I don't have to I don't have like the sweats guarding me. I have like
Yeah.
all the late round picks
like
guys guarding me.
Braxton,
Yeah,
Swan's replacement.
I'll have like those kind of kids. So we
Yeah.
straight barbecue chicken from there.
Yeah,
Basically.
I mean, I can't really help but feel like all of the like shifting towards like teams being good this year is because of Vince and the trade that he made.
Yeah.
You know, I personally don't think it was worth it. I would have.
No.
I mean, we
To
made
give
If he
up-
won, it was
If
worth
he
it.
won,
Yeah,
it
we-
probably
which-
would have been worth
Yeah,
it.
we almost did, but
But I mean, he traded Baby B for essentially the same player, just more athletic. But I mean, they
Yeah.
have the same
They both
shot
play
selection
defense.
pretty much. They're both a liability on defense, and yeah, I mean, me personally, I would have stuck with Baby B instead of giving him up and my first round pick.
Yeah.
So that now all of that power falls in the hands of Chite, right? It's gonna be a scary season with, like, if Chite's got Brock or Chuck, and then someone like Jan on his team.
Yeah.
You know, it's
100%.
Chite one of, if not the best player in the league, and then put him on a team with 2 second options. It's just, yeah, it's gonna be a good season. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. But
yeah, but I think there's always like one year, there's one team that just like comes out and just like surprises everybody. I think last year was the Nighthawks. They came out surprised everybody.
Because like after that LJ trade, we didn't win 3 straight games till playoffs, and then we kind of turned it up and was like,
I think who was that surprise team first year?
I think the Phoenix.
Oh yeah, Phoenix.
They were the 4 seed. They beat the 1 seed.
Beat Nighthawks because Wyman. They just didn't miss that game. I saw they shooting like 90%.
Crazy.
that year, great shooting performance from them. They beat first season Nighthawks to get to the championship, then lost to basically just Brody in the championship.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're not gonna let this distract us from the fact that Chuck had
0 points
in a closeout finals game, game 3 of the SLHL finals. And, you know, the entire series was just Brody, sprinkle in a little bit of Simon. And, yeah, but Chuck wasn't really, I don't know what was going on with him, but he wasn't a presence at all.
Like, I was commentating those finals game. I don't think I said Chuck scored once, like, while I was commentating. I don't think I was saying Chuck's name at all. I think I said Brody's name more than anybody.
Yeah, and Brody, I mean, he's looking to have a nice season this year, too.
Gonna really have to step it up.
He's really going to have to amp it up if he's doing what I think he's going to do with his offseason and drafting moves. You know, I mean, it's not, I don't think that's a team anyone would want.
No.
Well, but if you have Billings and Braxton, you've almost got to score every point. And I don't think he has the mindset of that. I think he just wants to, like, lose without being, like, intentionally losing. But, yeah, we just got to wait and see what he does there.
It's almost like a meme team that he's going for.
Yeah.
And back to what you said, I think he is probably tanking so that he can, season 4, have a good team. But
So that's basically almost what you've had with the Barbs. Like, first season, how you had 2 players who really don't have that much experience and skill and try to take them to a win. I don't think Brody's on that level yet where he can carry a team all the way through. He's coming off like a mid-season, basically. So he's really got to step it up.
And, you know, Brody's a great player, but he's not the most dominant guy. You know, he can only really get it done on the perimeter. And, you know, he'll sprinkle in a couple layups here and there. Good finisher around the rim when he needs to be. But you go up against someone with some bigs who can, especially with the team that he thinks he's going to have, we're not going to really, nobody's ever going to really need to guard anyone but him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, speaking of, like, dominant clutch players, who would you put, like, in your top 5 most clutch? Because you saw last podcast episode, and LJ says he's the most clutch player in SLHL. So what's your opinion on that? Like, and plus, what's your kind of top 5?
I think LJ also said that he's the best shooter in the SLHL, which I think is complete blasphemy. I don't think that's a good take at all. This goes back to what we said about him having too much confidence to where it gets to be cocky and arrogant, you know. So I don't believe he's anywhere near the best shooter.
Yeah.
I think, you know, you put Brody up there, you put Lukey, Wyman before LJ. I'd put Chite up there before LJ. And yeah, so he might be cracking the top 5 best shooters, but he's got a lot to prove to me before he can do that. And yeah, but for who's the most clutch, I would have to say probably, like, are we going top 3, top 5?
Oh,
We'll go
top
3.
Yeah,
Top
three.
3. Top 3.
Top 3 most clutch.
No order. You don't have
No
to
order,
1,
yeah.
2, 3.
I put Chite up there.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
if you need a bucket, he can go get one. Super good player. I'd probably put Vince. Obviously, you know, he doesn't shy away from the big moments. He's got a lot of weight to carry on his shoulders, being the best player on the team all the time, and always being counted on for those types of shots. And he can put it away if need be. And for the other guy cracking that spot, you know, it's kind of a mix-up. I would put maybe myself and or Brody in there. You know, obviously I'm not super super big on like 3-point shooting, but if my team is in the situation to where we need a bucket, you know, I can go down in the paint, I can get one, I can occasionally knock down the trifecta, but I mean,
during that comeback game, like when we just gave you the ball, once you got down there, there's basically no point like guarding at that point.
Yeah.
And once you're down there, it's just a free point basically at that point.
And it's a little, I know people think it's controversial, but you know, you gotta just find a way to stop me, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
take a charge.
it's not my fault that I'm the biggest, and that's not to like flex on anyone that I am the way that I am. But you know, if you wanna stop me, find a way.
Someone has to be the biggest in the league.
Yeah, I've been kind of like mentally thinking about sort of for the things to stop you. So like, I got some couple things we meet up again. Cause I don't think you're gonna be drafting me. I don't think I'm gonna be ever one #1 pick. But like, I've got some things in my bag thinking about guarding you next season. It'll be a fun game. Cause I haven't played you since I think the concussion game.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years.
Well, and if things go the way I intend them to go for this off season, I'm gonna try and pack on the muscle. I've already put I think 2, 3, 4 inches onto my vertical from last SLHL season, and yeah, I mean, I got high hopes for once again being the most dominant player in the league. I'm already
chasing another MVP.
Yeah, that's always the goal. But you know, biggest goal is to get back in the mix, get another ring.
Yeah.
You know, personal awards, those are always great. Winning MVP last year was a great experience, and Finals MVP. But you know, everyone's top priority is getting that ring.
Yeah. What's your some of your like main goals for next season coming up? Just win it.
Yeah, that's.
I guess that's everybody's goal basically. Just win it first.
Goal.
There's like some mini things. Like my mini goals maybe was trying to make an all-star team. Maybe try to slip in there.
I think you did the first season.
Yeah, I did the first season, but that was when they had like Chait and like Brock.
Yeah.
So there's more talent. So hopefully I can try to slip in there next season.
You know, I think the biggest goal for me is to just adapt to this new team that I'm gonna have, and you know, just keep going, keep progressing from where I was last season. You know, improve my skill as just a player myself, and just get back in that championship game. Hopefully win it, and you know, if other awards come my way, MVP or anything else, All-Star,
defensive player
player of the year. You know, that'd be great, but
yeah, I don't
my
know
intent
how,
is to get another ring.
I don't know how controversial this is, but I don't know how Simon actually got that Defensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah,
I don't think he didn't even play that much games.
He played enough games though. He played just the minimum amount to get awards.
to be qualified for an award. Yeah, so
I think personally, it was biased because Brody was teammates with him, but I just
so Brody obviously, I think he played a little bit of a role, and also put in the caption for when Simon won. I think he said most hype player in SLHL.
Yeah.
So me personally, I just think that's like too much glaze.
Or like a different award. That feels like a different award.
Yeah, I mean, hype and defense kind of go together, but if you're giving out just straight like defensive player of the year, you got to be.
I would say Karsten was my vote.
Carson. That's an interesting one. Yeah,
I can see that.
He's a rim protector for sure.
Yeah.
He's like, I think of him. He's got like that Wembanyama build.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's not like the tallest, but he's got that. He's got long arms. You know, he's lengthy.
Well, is he a captain, right?
Yeah, he's a captain.
He filled in for Tommy's. I think he did a great job. They kind of have the same kind of like build from each other, and I think that he needs to like take a step up though as like as underclassman. He's got to like kind of progress and like have like a better team because he swapped with you, right?
Yep. And we have yet to see an underclassman take a team to where
just even win. Just even win.
Just to get like some quality wins, you know. I mean, Karsten filled in for me season 1 for a little bit.
Got a couple
Yeah,
wins.
he looked amazing.
Yeah, he did. And that's what kind of sparked us to see like, oh yeah, he's gonna be our replacement for Tommy since Tommy's retiring. You know, Tommy, he wasn't able to get it done with his team, and Karsten obviously wasn't able to get it done with his team.
I think he had a better team because he had him, Brock, and Billings.
Billings.
So I think that's a better team they had last time around.
But they did take Simon second overall first season.
Yeah, that was
bad draft.
No, I think that was just
bad drafting by old team.
Yeah, it was just freshman glaze at the time. It was just because.
And now that I think about it, both or wait, no, it's been majority sophomores of the Bandits, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Bandits are kind of like the nowadays Pistons, is what I think of them as.
Yeah.
You know, they're not really
They have not yet like escaped like that bottom seed yet.
no. Like nobody really expects them to go out and just dominate the game.
Take them serious.
Like I remember first season, we really had like a challenge with each other, like who can blow up the Bandits by the most points. So, yeah, hopefully the Bandits can turn around with Carson, maybe lead the team to something better. And yeah.
I do have one more question. There seems to be a reffing problem in the league.
Oh yeah.
Do you? I know you've reffed a couple games. Do you think
And
we
you've
should
had
get-
problems with ref yourself. You've gotten a couple like
Yeah.
one-on-ones with the refs, kind of maybe
Do
yelling
you
at
think
them.
we should get full-time refs, or do you think it should be players reffing?
You know, I think
Or just like volunteers.
Yeah.
if we have any sort of player reffing, it's obviously none of us have done it before,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
everyone's first time giving it a go.
Mm-hmm.
I tried my best to keep the game even, to keep it like as cool as it could possibly be. I had Owen Johnson would ref with me a couple times. I had Vince
Owen's
shout
really
out,
good.
shout outs.
Yep. Best up all time, Owen.
And yeah, it's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
You gotta have eyes everywhere.
And it should be also the spirit of the game too. If you just like hack somebody, say you hacked him, just check back up.
Mm-hmm. You should have integrity for the game. You
Yeah.
know, you shouldn't be lying your way out of getting out of a foul call. But like you said, I don't know if having volunteer. I mean, it would have to be volunteer refs. You know,
Yeah.
we can't really
Yeah.
afford to pay refs to come ref
No.
the games, especially if it's as steep as like Tiggy wants it to be.
Yeah,
I think he said he wanted $10 per game.
which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, Tiggy, where's our $200 you promised us to invest in
Yeah.
our league?
Yeah, but I mean, there is a reffing problem. I think it needs to get fixed if we want SLHL to get better.
Yeah, more clean, less
Yep.
injuries. You know.
Mhm.
But
Well, there hasn't been that many injuries, just like
Yeah.
2 concussions.
Inch height.
that's,
yeah,
that's an
that
out of
was-
basketball injury.
That was a
Yeah,
odd
that wasn't
basketball.
in a game.
That was just
That was a
not counting
pre-game
that.
where he was not playing.
You know they had like a gate you just open
yeah,
to
they
get around.
created a gate for
Yeah,
him.
just for in his memory, they created a gate so he just wouldn't get injured ever again. So I feel that brings the end of our podcast here on our today's
Yeah,
episode.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Hey, thanks for having me,
Yeah.
man. It was a blast.
Yep, and for any future stuff, we may be hosting some winter expedition games with some of our players who are available during the winter. And stay tuned because we may be dropping some merch.
Yeah.
So remember, stay in the loop with Stewie Hoop.